To begin with, if I could ask you, finally, after close to gap of 1.5 years, we saw finally brokers being made accountable and three leading brokers, senior officials getting arrested on a 3rd of March. The question that I would put to you, or the general question that's doing around is, what is that after 1.5 years that you thought the brokers must be arrested?
You are aware that there are total 139 broking houses or brokers who have traded on NSEL. So naturally, to investigate them will take some time. And as we had always been talking about it, that investigation does take time, and we don't go by the general perception of how much time it has taken. As and when the investigating officer feels that somebody is not cooperating, then the custodial interrogation is required, and that is how the arrests take place. That doesn't mean that these brokers were not summoned, not questioned earlier. They have been consistently being called, questioned, and whatever replies they had given were always scrutinized. So the custodial interrogation is a sad part of any investigation, and that has happened now.
Sinha, if I could just ask you the other aspect, what was the larger modus operandi that was being followed? Were you finding round tripping that was happening? A, B, did you see proprietary trading happening? How was this whole functioning? What were the exact involvement of the brokers in that sense?
Brokers were involved since the inception of the FIR. If you see that the name of the brokers were there, the sections of conspiracy has been added in the FIR. So naturally, we were investigating the conspiracy aspect and also criminal misappropriation, forgery, cheating. So these were the broad areas in which the brokers were investigated, and we have found during our probe that certain broking houses or brokers were actually involved in jacking up the trade. Also, they were found to promote certain borrowers. They were found to luring the investors by giving them a false kind of assurance that it is a safe investment where there is a fixed return. They had also given certification to the auditors that there is a stock. They have also given a false assurance on many count to their investors. So these are some of the things where we found that these brokers had not only acted with innocence, but they were fully aware that what was happening, and they tried to rake in when the sun was shining high.
So, a couple of just questions, if I could just touch upon the important aspects. One, as you're saying, if the volumes were getting rigged up, is there in more than one sense the broker was also working for FTIL, the parent company, A, and B, is there instances where you're seeing the brokers themselves financing the investors for investing or trading in NSEL?
Yeah, there have been instances where the brokers were financing the investors for trading in NSEL. So naturally, the investors were not only lured, they were also encouraged to finance or to invest in NSEL. So this raises a kind of suspicion that what was the return that the brokers were getting by making more and more investors come on the NSEL platform. As far as jacking up the trade is concerned, that is one area where we are investigating, and whether FTIL per se is involved in this or it is not involved is something which is a part and parcel of investigation. So right now it will not be proper to comment on that.
So quickly, if I could just add and ask you, we all know from the beginning you have been looking at this case, there are top 5 brokers which were almost taking the 75% or 80% of the whole business of NSEL. We are seeing 3 officials of Anand Rathi, IIFL and Geojit getting arrested. Although I would not get into specifics, as you say, the matter is still under investigations. But the moot question is, the other big guys like Phillip Capital and Motilal Oswal, are they also involved in similar pattern what we are seeing with these 3 brokers who have got arrested?
I will not go into specifics of our investigation, but as I had told you that there are total 139 broking houses or brokers who are who were trading on NSEL platform. So all of them are being investigated. The question is that when somebody doesn't cooperate during the investigation, that is when the question of custodial interrogation arises. So as of now, we are not finding any reason why some other custodial interrogation is required, but that doesn't mean that we are not investigating the rest 139 broking houses apart from the 3 broking houses whose officials have been arrested.
So if I could ask you, you have been always confident saying when the recovery of money, it will happen, maybe it will take some time. If you could throw some light on where that exact process is, because that is where everyone's interest, or particularly the investors' interest, lies, and that is why you are investigating. Where does the recovery process stand at this point of time?
Recovery process is inching very closely as the investigation is progressing. We have already secured the properties of the defaulters or the people who have been named in the FIR to the tune of roughly 6,000 crore. Now the MPID Act, as per the law, the next issue is for the notification. The notification by the government has already started. Roughly 2,500 crore to 3,000 crore worth of property have been notified by the government. Now the next step lies where the Honorable Court will start the process of liquidation, and that process will start very shortly.
And just to add to that, do we see some, say, big names or big valuators being appointed? That is what EOW would look at, because ultimately you need some professionals to handle and to expedite this whole process.
Definitely, we and the government are very serious on this issue, and the government has already approached some big houses who are expert in this area, because we require the help of the experts for valuation and also for the next stage of liquidation. So that process has already started, and very shortly the government will shortlist and notify somebody.
So next 3 months, can we start the liquidation process underway? Realistic time frame?
It is very difficult to give a time frame, but yes, 3 months is a time when at least the process will begin.
Okay. And my last question is, sir, in these investigations, now the larger worry is also you have other regulators like FMC, SEBI keeping a close watch, because at the end of the day, these are the same brokers who also trade in equity, although under different set of regulations. I had asked you on the day of arrest also, do we see these investigation reports of these brokers being shared with, say, market regulator SEBI at the end of the day, because these are the same players operating there?
Yeah, we will be sharing these reports of ours with the other market regulators. Some market regulators have already asked for our investigation reports. So we are taking legal opinion as to how much we can share at the moment, because the case is still under investigation, and when a matter is under investigation by the police department, so it is very important that we can only share what can be shared. And to that extent, all these reports will be shared with them.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.